depending on who your prosecutor is, right now defines whether or not you've got a right that's been afforded to women in Michigan for 49 years. And that is a scary, unstable way to proceed with fundamental health care for women.
Breaking right now at 6 o'clock, ban blocked. A judge approves Governor Whitmer's request to keep county prosecutors from enforcing Michigan's abortion ban. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Susan Shaw.
And I'm Brian Sterling. We learned just 30 minutes ago that the governor's request for a temporary restraining order was approved.
It comes hours after the appeals court said an injunction on the decades-old ban does not apply to county prosecutors.
We have team coverage tonight, beginning with political reporter Rick Albin, who spoke with the governor about her request. Rick.
And Brian, I talked with the governor just minutes after her legal team had filed that request, and just after 5, we were told the temporary restraining order was granted. The legal calisthenics in the state since the U.S. Supreme Court ruled Roe v. Wade was not settled law has been almost constant. I asked her where it all ends. Is there ever going to be a time when the issue over abortion in Michigan is resolved?
The voters are going to have an opportunity to weigh in on the ballot initiative this fall. What I've been trying to do is just simply preserve the same rights with the same conditions that we've had for 49 years. If the legislature would have simply codified the law as we've known it for 49 years, we wouldn't have this fear and this concern and all of this lack of clarity. I believe that this is a fundamental right. The majority of people expect and want women to be able to make their own decisions about their bodies, to design the course of their lives. And this is a moment that is very concerning and scary. As a mom, the thought that my girls have fewer rights than I've had my whole life, it infuriates me. It also makes me worried about all of the women who don't have resources to make the decisions that they need to for what's right for them.
Whatever the legal maneuvering, you can be sure that yes, this year, perhaps like it hasn't been in a long time, abortion and how candidates approach that issue will be on the ballot. And expect to hear more about other legal challenges and rulings as the argument in the courts is not over.
No, not by a long shot. Rick Albin from the newsroom. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. Our team coverage continues right now with reaction from the Kent County prosecutor.
He was part of the initial legal challenge to the injunction blocking the ban from taking effect. And News 8's Megan Bunchman is live outside of his office tonight. Megan?
Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker says following today's ruling, his office will enforce that 1931 ban on abortions within the state. A big clarification today by the Michigan Court of Appeals as a ruling found the current injunction on Michigan's 1931 ban on abortion does not apply to county prosecutors.
Now it's very clear any county prosecutor in the state of Michigan that is brought a case under the abortion statute can now prosecute.
Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker, one of 2 county prosecutors who filed this complaint, released this statement. He said, quote, "I have been informed that the Michigan Court of Appeals has ruled that county prosecutors are not bound by the injunction issued in Planned Parenthood of Michigan versus Attorney General of the state of Michigan. As I believed the decision in that case applied only to state actors, it never applied to county prosecutors." The ruling goes into effect 21 days from now, which means by the end of this month, law enforcement can take abortion complaints and report them to county prosecutors.
Whether or not a county prosecutor decides to prosecute under the abortion statute is up to that individual prosecutor. But law enforcement should do their job, which is to investigate complaints of crimes. This is now a crime in Michigan for a doctor to perform an abortion. It's now clear, given this ruling today, unless it's to save the life of the mother.
Several Democrat county prosecutors said that they will not prosecute abortions within their respective areas. And Attorney General Dana Nessel says this isn't the end of the fight, saying, quote, "While I respect the ruling from the court, it is by no means the final say on this issue in Michigan." There is a 6-year statute of limitation for those who perform abortions in Michigan moving forward, which means a doctor's or hospital's current prosecutor may change during that time limit.
So if I were a doctor or a hospital at this point in time, I'd be very leery of performing abortions in Michigan
In hospitals that perform abortions moving forward, they have yet to return my calls. Live in Grand Rapids, I'm Megan Bunchman, News 8.
All right, Megan, outside of the prosecutor's office tonight. Megan, thank you for that. Our team coverage continues now with News 8's Kyle Mitchell.
Joining us in studio with reaction now from advocates on both sides of this issue. Kyle.
Sue and Brian, Planned Parenthood is reassessing legal options. Right to Life sees the ruling this morning as a success, but wanted the court to do more.
The county prosecutors should never have been enjoined in the first place, and this is just confirmation of our understanding.
Right to Life Michigan is calling the decision a win.
The court said specifically that the Judge Gleicher injunction that she placed on the county prosecutors was improper. They should never have been enjoined in the first place. So it's really not a case where you're going to appeal.
The group was denied in their request to move the case to the appeals court. They expect to soon see the ban being enforced.
If I were an abortion provider in a county that I know that the prosecutors have been vocal in their support of the unborn child, I think I would think very carefully about whether or not I wanted to open my doors. I might be thinking about closing down.
We just got the order this morning, and our team continues to review it.
Paula Thornton-Greer, the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Michigan, says abortion access remains protected in Michigan.
Abortion is still safe and legal in Michigan, and Planned Parenthood of Michigan's doors are open, and they're going to stay open.
As Planned Parenthood looks at its options, the group says the ruling will not have an immediate impact.
As such, we're continuing to evaluate our legal options. We're committed to protecting abortion access in Michigan. We believe that the Court of Appeals order is wrong. Any prosecutor who attempts enforcement before that period of time would be acting outside the law, and they should be held in contempt.
Right to Life of Michigan says it believes the decision to remove county prosecutors from that injunction this morning cannot be appealed. Planned Parenthood says it will continue to challenge the abortion ban in court.